Put your drum down, Will.
We want your soul.
It really is a time when all of us have got to start talking louder than ever. The rapid speed of, if you like, globalization, the world government, world army, world central bank, world currency, world microchip population.
Don't be afraid.
No, be afraid. Be very afraid.
The important thing is to know where they want to take us.
They have to destroy the dollar, destroy the pound, destroy the old order while they've been building the new world order, this technological enslavement system.
The FBI is taking on $1 billion project to gather fingerprints, palm patterns, even digital pictures of faces. Eventually, it could expand to include iris patterns, face shape patterns, scars, even information about how you walk and talk. It's called biometrics.
We want your soul.
You can't handle the truth.
Time to Howl at the Wolves. It's Saturday night, April 25, 2026, or 2026. What did they say at the Bilderberg Group?
As you like it.
Somewhere in Jacksonville, Florida, deep inside our Black Sheep studio, Lieutenant Keith Temple. How are you?
Hoo-hoo, I wouldn't be anywhere better. Chad, thanks for having me on tonight.
Joining us from Black Sheep Studio 2, somewhere in North Carolina, BrooksAgnew.com. Dr. Brooks Agnew, how are you?
I'm doing great. We're not somewhere. We're in the carriage house in North Carolina.
In the carriage house. I didn't want to give the location away. And also joining us, he's no stranger to this show if you've been listening for a long, long time. Literally from parts unknown. From parts unknown. Boots on the ground at the inception of the Iraq War. He's done a lot of stuff we cannot tell you about. Bob Austin, hoorah. Gentlemen, I was cooking Dominican rice and bean burritos tonight when Bob Austin fucking texted me, and he broke it before, and then I texted Ian and I texted Brooks, and Ian said, "What the fuck?" I texted Scotty Hare, but Bob Austin broke this right away. I mean, there's nothing to talk about with this, folks. If you wanted us to report this tonight, we're not saying shit. But Bob or Brooks, who wants to take the lead on what we just saw happen at the White House and how Ian Trottier, a great friend and guest of this show, when I texted him, his text back to me was, "What the fuck? How does a gun get into anywhere near the White House?"
Well, the easy explanation, it was actually posted by Deborah Lee. She was there. There were no metal detectors. There were no pat downs. It was easy peasy for weapons to get into this event.
At the White House.
Yep.
Crazy.
Like you said, Brooks, to me, and in the Super Friends chat, you said, "This smells like Butler."
That smells like Butler. That's your job, not my job. Not my job, it's your job.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they're going to have to put metal detectors in that ballroom now.
Oh, there will be.
Well, it's clear that somebody, and I know I have an idea who somebody is, does not want 47 Trump to be in office. I mean, it's clear.
Yeah, and there were protesters outside that rushed his limo as they were taking him away. Of course, they were all wearing Arafat bath towels, so they all got arrested.
Arafat bath towels. Bob, you take over.
I haven't watched any sources. It's not like I have a connection to any of this. I'm just going to say that. Mark Dice had just broke it like right as I'm sitting there watching. I was like, "Oh wow!" So then I went and started. You
texted me.
Yeah. There you go. It's So what do y'all know? Because I don't know anything about it other than it happened. There was a shooter. Reports I read said he was dead. I've read other reports since, or when I say reports, I don't watch TV anymore, so. But I've read some stuff, little snippets. 4 to 6 shots.
5 to 6 shots, and he is now room temperature.
He's alive.
No, he's room temperature.
Oh no, he's dead. Oh, okay,
Face down on the
he
steps.
is dead.
Yeah, he dead.
That's what the report was from Mark Dice, and the other stuff was saying that he was alive and was apprehended by police. So that's what I'm saying. There comes a misinformation. It's a war.
There's a picture of him face down, stripped from the waist up on the steps outside.
Was he Aloha Snack Bar?
Yes, he was. Alihu Akbar.
Yeah.
Oh, but we can't say that on air, Bob.
Yeah, we can. Go ahead, say it.
No, we can. I'm being facetious about the MSM.
Yeah. Politically correct. I'm beyond politically correct. Like we said, I'm 60 years old. I've seen and I've read a reasonable amount in my life, but no one has been persecuted more than Trump, during this whole 15, 20 years, whatever it's been. It's crazy. And I know God's in control, and I know he has a plan, and I know that this fits in his plan, and I hope that the issue is that it helps the American electric wake up and make a rational decision about what direction they want to head over the next 5 to 10 years.
So is this just some a nut, religious fanatic, MK Ultra? What do we know? Where did they find a passport?
That I do not know. He has not totally white skin and dark hair. So that's all I can see of him. They don't know nationality, but I guarantee if he turns out to be Pakistani or Iranian, there's going to be some hell to pay. If he has his phone on him, that's going to be cracked, and they're going to find out who he texted last.
Here's the thing. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your kilt, Bob, but it's just a fact. You broke this right away by texting me, and then I put it in the Super Friends chat and all this, and Tessa Scotty Hare, Ian Trottier, all this, and of course Brooks. And here's the deal. This is once again President Trump. I don't know how many times I've said it on this show. He has providence.
Mm-hmm.
And how many assassination attempts is it gonna? It's crazy. But you know what, Brooks? When you said Butler smells like Butler, Keith and I were talking before airtime. I don't have a pen, so I'm not pinning you. But I had to disarm myself, Brooks and Bob, with my pen because I usually just pin the living shit out of his arm. When you, as far as reeking of Butler and all this is, and him having providence, it's not going to stop right now. And I was telling Keith, it's not going to stop. So how does it get, when Ian Trottier texted me back, I told him what you got on the White House, and he hadn't heard about it just yet. Bob fucking broke this for everybody, and he texted me back and he said, "This is just breaking. What the fuck?"
Yep.
And you saw what he said in the Super Friends chat. I mean, he's fucking pissed. But if this can happen in the White House, now all bets are off with how far the global syndicate, Brooks, at the end of the day is who's fucking doing this, allowing this shit to happen.
Well, they don't like losing, that's for sure. And they're under a tremendous amount of pressure. Look what they just tried in Virginia. And it got shot down by a judge. And then now the Attorney General's office has come out 7-0, shooting down this redistricting trick that's Spanberger, the communist that got elected by deception in Virginia, just tried to pull off.
Isn't she terrible? I mean, I told Chad before the show, I said, she is just about the most evil communist person.
She's ex-CIA, isn't she?
Yeah, ex-CIA, and she got elected by deception. She ran as a moderate, said she wouldn't try to redistrict a lot of the things. One of the first laws that she passed and signed was forbidding the examination of mail-in ballots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that law is going to stand or not, but now they're going to go after the mail-in ballots, and they're going to find out if they all have the same signature on them, or if they came in sequentially, or what the deal is. But it's everybody is observing that some 65,000 mail-in ballots came in after hours and got counted. And
well, I'm sure there's a running playbook that's years old within the agency of how that stuff's done. You mean you can do it in Rwanda? Well, shit, you can do that in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
What's the population of Rhode Island, by the way, gentlemen?
It's a business plan that works for them.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Brooks, and like we said many shows ago, is that the idea is you got to clean up the voter rolls. I mean, one of the leaks and sieves in this is dead people or people who have moved or whatever remaining on the rolls that they're taking advantage of. And thank goodness for Tom Fenton and Judicial Watch. I mean, I'm not saying that they got the whole thing there, but they're surely on the right track of trying to clean up the voter rolls.
Well, there are 29 states that have refused to turn over those rolls. Two of them, California and New York, sued just because they asked for the voter rolls. And Michigan just ended up putting, I think it was 325,000 dead people back on their rolls that were removed. So, yeah, it is completely corrupt. And as I said, I don't know how long it's been, 5 or 6 weeks on this program. Watch Trump pass, or at least sign, an executive order, something like the Emergency Election Infrastructure Act. And it is going to be designed to ban mail-in ballots. You have to vote in person or the vote doesn't count in national elections. So 3 weeks ago, he did sign an executive order. And part of that executive order says, if you didn't turn over your voter rolls so they can be gone through by the NSA, you will not be allowed to use mail-in ballots in the national elections. So I was almost right.
You're fucking Brooks Agnew. You're always right. Shut
All right.
up.
Getting back to the Michigan issue about putting these 375,000 people, dead people, confirmed dead people, that they were removed off the rolls, and then Michigan authorities put them back on, and the justification was, we want them on the rolls for historic purposes. And
Wonderful.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? What?
These people had rights.
Right.
Yeah. The next thing to find out is how often are they voting?
Hey, we can't tell you what life is, but you can't say when it ends. Keep the benefits rolling, baby,
I think Brooks has been right on target. This is the target individuals, people that I'll use the word they, I'll use the pronoun they, that they know are deceased and are not going to vote. And these are the people that these mail-in ballots come from, right? And like you say, whether or not it's, 50,000 or whatever the number is, right? When you start to clean that voter roll up, all of a sudden, boom, right? That changes that playbook. And I've said on this show, I've said to Chad before the show, not tonight, but before, and Brooks, you've been on the path. I mean, we're at the point that we need accountability, right? Because this is beyond incompetence. This is people legitimately underlying our processes.
They don't want to give up power. And those names on a roll for whatever, I mean, for how they don't want to give up power. They don't want to give up representation. Let's say that those, however, 300, whatever thousand people, well, guess what? We're bilking Medicare and Medicaid for, $500 billion. Okay. That's how we keep everything going in this state.
Or how about the hotel that they just busted? I think it was in California. 129 rooms in this hotel, and it was the home of 129 separate hospices.
With no patients, billing the government, and
no patients, and each had 5 or 6 employees, and each employee was making about $500,000 a year. And the employees don't exist. They're non-existent employees.
Was this in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Brooks?
Yeah.
Something about there was 500 hospices in Los Angeles alone. I mean, I'm just sitting there thinking.
In just L.A.
In just L.A.
I mean, I know it's a big city, okay? But
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's phenomenal. I think they're putting the learning centers, or the leering centers, to shame down. I mean,
yeah, somebody knows the system. And you can't tell me that there aren't Democrats getting a kickback from some of that money.
Oh, 100%. And it's not just L.A.
Right. Well, I think it was L.A. had like 20% of the hospices in the United States, that one county.
Oh, my
right?
gosh.
I mean, it was an outrageous amount. Thank you, Nick Shirley, for going around. And, God bless him. I mean, I don't know what's motivated, what's guided him, but I mean, hey. And then you got to think, how corrupt. I mean, how many people in positions of the government with oversight and control and such are either looking the other way or, like you say, Brooks, are obtaining a kickback for it or what? I mean, it's a really, really bad system.
I'm just curious what Bob Menendez, I know he was dealing with the Egypt, and he's in prison now, if I'm not mistaken. But he was a Democrat senator. This doesn't happen to Democrat senators. What was he doing? I mean, who did he piss off?
Right. You got those gold Cougarans, and somebody turned him in because.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean,
the FBI raided his place, got the gold bars, and hey.
So we know this is happening, but what made him a target? Brooks, do you have any idea about that? I don't.
Who made who a target?
Bob Menendez, the senator from.
Well,
New
I mean,
Jersey.
Bob Menendez was armpits deep in a corruption ring.
Mm-hmm.
He had gold bars and he blackmailed people, and I'm sure his phone records and his accounting was going to reveal quite a lot to the law enforcement. So I think they wanted him out before they were able to subpoena him and get that information.
Before the other people were implicated.
Yeah. It's kind of like, let's see, who was it that they brought in? Oh, the Act Blue people. Act Blue. They brought in all the lawyers and they brought in the executives and everything for Act Blue. They took the Fifth Amendment 146 times, refused to answer any questions.
Wow. I'm just surprised that they, because there's dirtier things going on. I'd be more curious about what Lindsey Graham, how he's super MAGA now, and I don't trust that guy.
Not anymore.
Well, I've seen a good amount of.
Who the fuck
Just
ever
social-
trusts Lindsey Graham? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say is I've seen some social media things, and the IRS hired, I don't know, 75, 80,000 new IRS agents, to audit, transactions of private citizens of $600 or more. And someone has said, you ought to take those $75,000 or 75,000 IRS agents, instead of looking at $600 transactions of private citizens, you ought to start with having them do just a cursory look at the members of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives, and have them go through that, and have them give a report of their accounting and their finances before you go after private citizens.
I completely agree.
And that's why where all those LLCs come into play.
Right.
And you got to wonder how many of those LLCs that these our representatives actually own. How much money do they get from USAID? These from with their LLCs. And but let's just talk about, I don't know. Seems like it would be a good business venture, government contracting. Yeah.
I take back something I said. There's another video out. It shows the shooter stripped from the waist up, face down on the floor, and he's surrounded by Secret Service agents, and he just lifted his head. So I think he is handcuffed on the floor, and they have him in custody.
Oh my!
All right, so he is not room temperature just yet.
Not just yet. They're going to find out who hired this guy, where did he get the gun, where did he come from to get there, what hotel was he checked into, or they're gonna find out it all.
That's what I told Chad earlier, like 45 minutes ago. I said, I prefer for him to be alive so that they can interrogate him, as opposed to dead and then, going through to do that. So I'm glad. Hey, amen.
Well, this changes everything now. Well, it does. And Keith was talking to me about this, before airtime. And
Can't believe he got 5 or 6 rounds off and didn't hit anything.
Well, that goes back to what happened at the Ambassador Hotel. Dude didn't hit anything. He just shot rounds into the ceiling of the Ambassador Hotel.
Wow.
Talking about Sirhan?
Sirhan, yeah. He didn't shoot Bobby.
No, he didn't. There's no.
And he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't even remember shooting the gun.
Yeah.
They're saying it was the cop. They're saying the cop is actually the one who did it. That's RFK believes that too. So I don't know.
RFK knows damn well what happened to his father, RFK Jr.
Well, yeah, they did the actual forensics as to his position with the gun and where, and there was no way that any of the shots he found, and there was another gun there, and the shots was apparently from the.
It was one shot right behind his ear, at just muzzle to ear. That was the shot.
Right.
So but all I'm saying is I'm not trying to say that this guy is MK Ultra like Sirhan was, because he fucking was MK Ultra. But all I'm saying is this guy Brooks, if he got 6 shots off and didn't hit shit, it just reminded me of Sirhan. That's all I'm saying. I'm not painting a different picture, Guy just probably fucking sucks at shooting. Hey, get this guy a gun, we'll sneak it in, and just try your best.
That might be right on target there, Chad. Is that, the idea is that, hey, go. But like I say, is if he didn't have press credentials, I like you say, I wonder
How do
what
you
the
get a
game
gun
plan.
into that event? It's plain and simple. I mean, Brooks, Bob, and Keith, and then I'll shut up after I get done telling you, Brooks, Bob, and Keith. And by the way, folks, if we say anything tonight on this show that I do or Brooks does, we're telling you to never do anything that we do. Because if that way YouTube won't ban us, okay? If I tell you that I take a certain supplement or I do something, I don't want you to ever fucking do it. You great viewers and listeners out there, don't you do it. We're never telling you to do any of that. It's just Brooks and I telling you what we do because we're just telling you what we do, and you should never do what we do. Okay, I got that disclaimer out of the way for YouTube.
By the way, CNN is officially calling this a dinner interruption.
You know what, Brooks? I'm going to be real interested. Chad had mentioned it before the show. I wonder if they had a high-speed camera at
I don't know.
at the dinner, right? I mean, those are the things that you and I and
We're talking about Butler all over again. Go
right,
ahead.
and the people in the Super Friends chat comes to mind immediately is, you know, now I'm not sure if everybody else would think of that, but you know, what things are different? I'm sure the FBI's, you know, very competent and all, but you know, what things have changed? I mean, if all of a sudden you got a high speed, you know, issue where you tipped off beforehand, because I showed Chad as soon as it broke, as soon as Bob had indicated that, I pulled up CNN, and then shortly after that I pulled up Fox, and CNN's top story before the shooting was the issue of about the correspondence dinner. The Fox one was dealing something with Iran and the Straits of Hormuz and such. And I'm just, it just, like you say, thinking about Butler, then all of a sudden I said, I wonder if CNN was tipped off. I wonder if they knew there was something like
Well,
I wonder
Wolf
if Brooks-
Blitzer.
I wonder
Wolf
Brooks-
Blitzer was just a few feet away from the shooter when he took his shots.
Brooks, I wonder if they were covering that live,
Oh, I don't know.
like
But-
Butler. You know
But
what I'm
I do
saying?
agree, Brooks, that Wolf was there. Wolf came out with one of the first comments about it. Coincidence? I don't know.
Well, they had to change the narrative. In my opinion, Brooks and Bob and Keith, and I was talking to producer Tony before the show started, in my opinion, just as Brooks pointed out about Butler, that shit was going to go down tonight. Their narrative had to change right away. That's why, that's why when we initially checked MSM shit, there was a bang. There was a loud noise. Because they don't have the script for that. The script was supposed to be, we just covered 47 getting shot the fuck to death. That's what the script was, in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
Boy, I would love to be a fly on the wall and see if there were some pre-written news releases or articles with those headlines and or details. And I'll tell you, one of the disturbing things about this is Melinda was present at the dinner also. So I'm sure she would have been right next to
Who is Melinda?
his wife,
Melania?
Melania.
That's where you're a kid.
Melania.
Melinda, I have no idea.
Melinda. Come on.
That's her
By
name.
the way, here's another question just to take tonight's conversation in another direction. Where is Maxine Waters?
I have not seen Maxine, doing anything in a while.
IQ Maxine.
She has not been to a congressional meeting or voted in over 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Jamie Raskin has been voting on her behalf.
Well, I mean, she is
Interesting.
up there, and she's not a biohacker like you and me, Brooks.
No.
She does look rough.
Yeah, too rough for prime time.
Not the brightest light bulb in the box, that's for sure.
Well, there's something else you probably should talk about tonight. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on it, but
I got something for you, Brooks, later on. Don't worry.
in my genre, in my community, there is a former icon. I say former because now he's room temperature. His name is David Wilcock.
Oh, wow.
And he
When did
committed suicide in front of law enforcement out in front of his house the other day.
get out of
And
here?
and the rumors are flying all over the place. I mean, I've known the guy.
I don't see him doing that at all, man.
Well, I've known the guy for about 21 years. We see each other at conferences. He's emceed. He's kind of he's moderated panels that I've been on. He's always been nice to me. He's super intelligent, but he's also super disturbed. And over the years, he has publicly, and you could go watch the videos if you want, he has publicly displayed paranoid schizophrenic events that were not brief. They went on for hours. And I worried about him for a long, long time. Add the extra pressures of Corey Good breaking his heart and ruining his career, and then his wife blowtorching what was left of his heart and divorcing him, and who knows how much she took. By the way, she's a 10-10. And he's probably left with nothing. And the 911 call that he called 911 on himself. The recording said, "It's time for me to leave."
Wow. A lot of people, if you don't know who David Wilcock is, I mean, Brooks knows him very, very personally. I know him simply through his works and hearing him on Coast a lot. Definitely a brilliant person, Brooks. So,
Oh yeah, you can't take away what he built. The
Yeah.
guy was, as I said, an icon. He was the most well-known person in the UFO disclosure community in the world. And it all came crumbling down.
I totally, it's a night of breaking news. Bob breaks
Wow.
this, and you break this to me, man. I never would have. I mean, the last time, like I said, his work's incredible, and just you knew him personally, me just through his work and listening to him on Coast, man. But I just wouldn't see him doing that. But everyone has a life outside of
Yeah,
their work.
yeah.
Haven't there been like a string of people that had?
No, well, yes, but he's not one of them. He's not an aerospace engineer. He's not any of that. He was just a guy that could put together very good, coherent thoughts on UFOs, on aliens, he was really brilliant on his feet. He was a very domineering personality live. But that's it. He was not one of the 11 or 12 or 13 scientists working on, secret space technology. No, he's not that guy.
Was he a friend of Bob Lazar?
I'm sure they knew each other, or Wilcock knew of Lazar. Of course,
Right.
they've both been on Coast to Coast. I'm not a fan of Lazar. I happen to have a lot of the same contacts that he does. And I can tell you that the stuff he says that he witnessed, that he worked on, it doesn't exist.
All right.
Well, my thought is way off tangent here, and I expect to get pinned or tapped by Chad
I don't
here.
have a pen. I
But
don't have a pen.
my issue is this, man. I hate for anybody on any level to be so isolated and so alone that they feel that it's time for them to move on. And and it doesn't matter if your IQ is 160 or if your IQ is 80. You know, I mean, the issue is we're all intended to have good friends. Good friends like Bob Austin, and good friends like Chad, and good friends like Brooke, and Ian, and everybody else in the Super, and Amy, and everybody else in the Super Friends chat. I mean, the idea is that we're
Colin,
all
Scotty,
exceptional.
Adam.
And Adam, right?
Got to remember Adam Earth real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adam is going through some stuff real quick, folks, and just keep Adam Earth in your prayers, please.
Absolutely. And all I'm saying is, yeah, you might not be able to join the 12 people on the Super Friends chat. I get it. That's our support network situation. But boy, go reach out, find somebody. And if you don't have friends or family, go to church. Go find somebody. If you are living life alone,
Get a dog.
get a dog, right? Right?
Bear. Let's go, Bear.
Something,
Bob's German Shepherd.
but I don't know. Chad, I'm going to say a prayer real quick if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Dear Heavenly Father,
Remember Adam also, please.
I will. That was one of the reasons I wanted. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for being our Lord and our Savior. We know you have a plan. We accept that plan. We trust in you. We struggle. We're broken. Be with our good friend Adam Earth as he's challenging these medical issues. Be with all the listeners. Be with the country. Be with our president, President Trump. I mean, they're just so many things that we need your support and your help with. Help us. We want to advance your kingdom. We want to endorse the plan that you have for us. Let us be reminded, and it is difficult at times in our earthly existence to remember that our fight is not against flesh and blood, even though at times we think that there are municipalities and spiritual warfare occurring that you're aware of and that you are confronting. And let us just be your conduit to advance the kingdom and the things that you would want. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
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 Wow.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
Only Lieutenant Keith Temple can do it, you know.
It's not true, but I've thought about it, and there are, boy, and I hate to say it, if we have 100 female listeners and viewers, I mean, you guys are prayer warriors.
They're all hot.
And they're all hot because they're conservative issues. But I mean, the issue is that, I enjoy being single. I was married 20 plus years. I have 7 kids. I'm as happy as I could possibly be. But my situation gives me time to think and reflect. And, I'm not saying everybody needs to be divorced. I'm not saying that at all. But the idea is, boy, we each have our paths and our crosses to bear, and we're all are unique and have purpose. And we just need to pray to identify what that purpose is in life and be willing to take steps of faith. I mean, I'm not going to get into it at all. But I was talking with Chad before the show. I have some shortfalls. I have some things that I suck at, right? And I told
I'm
Chad,
gonna fucking fix you.
and Chad said he's going to help me, right? And all I'm trying to do is model here now on the show. I wasn't planning to. I wasn't going to bring it up at all. But the issue is that you need to reflect on what things are you good at and what things do you suck at. And if you can identify things that you need help for, why? I mean, I have struggled with some things for long periods of times. And I told Chad tonight, I said, these are a couple of things I need a little bit of compassion and a little bit of accountability for. And will you help me on these issues? Because I'm rational enough to know that I want this, but for whatever reason, I can't do it on my own.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. And that's what
It
I
is
fucking told you.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that everybody's similar to me and has some of those things that, you know what, I know I need to do this, and I'm not, but I don't know who or how to proceed. And I'm saying, go find a good friend. Go
Anthony Robbins. That's the guy. He'll fix it.
Yeah. But, you know,
I remember a commercial. You guys may or may not. I think it was back in the early '90s. Think it was, and it comes on the TV, and it's just like, have you ever wondered why? Have you ever thought about why? It was just like, do you ever have these questions? And you're like, oh, this is pretty okay. What is this? Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what he asked me about tonight, Bob. And I was like, yes, I have the book. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
One of my personal teachers, which is one of the most premier life coaches in the world, actually. She is the inventor of Dianetics. She worked for L. Ron Hubbard and created that program. And then she saw what he was about to use it for, so she quit and she went out on her own. She lived in San Diego. And then she got sued by L. Ron Hubbard, and he won because he had exclusive rights to that technology. So she went underground, and I took a week's course from her, one-on-one, underground. And the lessons that I learned were phenomenal. So you can't take away from Dianetics that the technique and the technology is real.
Right.
But the reason why he did it was to create a religion where he was the god.
Exactly. Yeah. Dude,
Was that Scientology?
Yes, that was Scientology.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't get away from that when I was a little kid and a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the TV every motherfucking commercial. Dianetics.
Well, see, the principle is absolutely true. Everything has to do with the resonance and has to do with focus. It has to do with auto feedback into your system and listening to the system, listening to the results of your energy output in order to make small corrections. All the technology was real. Just ask, Tom Cruise. He built his life on it. His whole successful career is built on it. And you can ask me. I mean, since 2006, I have been practicing the principles of Scientology, not as Scientology as the religion, but the techniques of getting to the root cause of things and feeding those solutions back into my life.
For example, with Remembering the Future book.
Yes.
Yep.
I wrote Remembering the Future in 2007.
Yep.
I took her courses in 2006.
Yep. And listen, I've taken those for a long. I mean, you understand. You of course know Brooks. That's my favorite. I love all your books, but that's the book that got me. That's the book that I was like, holy ass, I got to get this guy on.
Well, that book cracks open the future for you. Instead of believing with all of your heart that God has a plan for me, I just got to figure out what it is. I haven't figured out what He has planned for me. Plan for yourself. That's what God gave you. Gave the ability to plan for yourself.
It's in the universe. It's there. It's all.
That's right.
All encompassing. Yeah.
And the system is mathematical, and it cannot fail.
I'm not going to go into any detail at all, but I'm going to put it out there, and maybe Chad will ask me about it later, or maybe not. I don't care. I'm going to tell you, man, I took a short nap, a couple hour nap this afternoon. I had a busy, busy morning. And I'm going to tell you, I had the weirdest, most.
This is so cool that
so-
you're gonna.
so-
I have no idea that you're gonna say this. It's so cool because I got something written down that asked Brooks about. Go ahead. I know where you're
Okay.
going.
My issue is it was a dream that
Holy
was
shit.
so vivid and so real and so off the charts of what anything that I'm consciously dealing with. And very briefly, it dealt with my father who passed away 30 years ago and some really weird stuff. And I'm like, and I wake up and I'm like, where in the world did that come from? Where did that come from? That didn't come from anything conscious that was on my horizon. And, you know, and I had a really good conversation with a really good friend 5-10 years ago about dreams and such and subconscious. And the issue is that he changed my whole perspective. I asked him, I said, can evil attack you in that manner? And he says, I see no biblical support that evil can attack you that way. He says it's far more likely that lives inside you, and that's stuff that your subconscious is bringing forward to release, to free you from. And I'm like, that changed my whole perspective of a lot of things. And I don't know where that goes. I don't know why I said that. But, you know, Brooks, you talking about, you know.
I'm gonna.
Wow.
Dude, that is amazing, and I cannot fucking believe you brought that up because what I have written down here is fucking amazing that you brought this up. Brooks, did you want to respond to that? I do have one update, and it's from our great guest Amy and Amy Waters-Jarzinski in the Super Friends chat. Secret Service agent was shot.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did he say it's only a flesh wound?
Yeah, he was shot.
No firecrackers.
I'm just saying, so it's kind of serious. He was fucking shot. It's a Secret Service agent.
Yeah.
And looks like it looks like his Kevlar took the bullet, but he was shot.
Okay, so you want me to respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead and respond to that, and then I'm going to tell you what I have written down.
We are each individual intelligences in the universe. There are no two that are the same, except at the moment of conception spiritually, there are two that are exactly the same because it's a square root function. After that, they diverge. You have different experiences and you become different and different intelligences. There are evil intelligences and there are not evil, or there are good intelligences. And we are at war with principalities and forces that most people don't understand. So yes, they can attack you in your sleep that way. They can even use your own thoughts against you. But here's the deal. They can't read your mind. They can only read when you open your mouth. When you say things, they learn from you and they then know how to attack you. When you think things, they can't attack you unless you entertain it. You entertain it, you put energy on it, you manifest it, and they can attack you and they will lure you in because they know your weaknesses. They've known you for older than worlds. But you can protect yourself by invoking the protection of Jesus Christ. It's really the only way to protect yourself against that kind of evil. And learn to do it in your sleep. When you're attacked like that, turn around, face them, and rebuke them in the name of Jesus. And they have to leave. They can't just laugh at you. They have to leave. Those are the rules. So I can tell you that 90% of the things that I've invented, that I've patented, that I've given to companies over my 31 years in the industry came to me in dreams. We call them downloads. They're things you don't have any reference for them at all. You never studied it. You didn't know it. You haven't thought about it in 3 decades. All of a sudden, they step forward and say, here you go. Sometimes you can't unpack it. It's beyond your capability. Other times, you know exactly where it came from and you know exactly what to do. If it's beyond your abilities, go get the abilities and it will start unpacking for you.
That's beautifully said, Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I can dig it.
Brock's, Bob, what was your dream last night about that hot chick?
Well, it was old Linda.
No, Linda.
Yeah, she's out there working down there at Stud's Pub.
I know where that is there, Bob.
Yeah,
Right there
yeah.
at Arlington Expressway in Atlantic. Oh, Lord. I only know that because there's a car repairs place there.
Okay.
Pinkies, huh?
Pinkies. That's what do they call that area of town? Sin
Sin
City.
City.
Yeah, Sin City.
Oh, Lord.
Ain't gonna play Sin City.
Lord. Lord.
Jacksonville's a big place. We do have a place that literally is called Sin City, and really, you just don't want to go around there.
I think they said on the billboard at one time back in it was 80s, 90s or something. Driving by, it said 12 dancers, and one of them's pretty.
I think I've read that billboard.
Yeah, that's like, what a. And then it's like, well, where's the pretty one? She ain't working tonight.
Oh, Lord. Don't we all?
I'll tell you what. Before Bob, you mentioning that, holy shit, I'm gonna.
Where are you going to go there, Chad?
Just remember, it's only flesh.
It's only flesh. Because Keith brought up the dream thing, and Brooks with this beautiful just explanation and gorgeous explanation. I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but sticking with the dancer type thing, this is going to go into a certain book, and Bob knows about the book that I'm writing, but Dick Johnson and Bob knows Dick Johnson very well. He and I we broke down in the middle of the highway somewhere 95 north, because we were coming back from somewhere in the south, and we broke down, and we didn't know why the truck broke down and all this shit. We walked like 3 miles to the next exit, came back with some fucking oil. That didn't work. It's pitch dark on the highway and all this jazz. There's a guy who stopped. He stopped, and his name was JJ. And he stopped. He was driving a minivan, and he was a cabbie, so he was a cab, right? But he stops on the highway, and that's cool. He's helping us, but he rolls the door open, and opens, rolls down the passenger window and says to us, "Get in." And I looked at Dick Johnson, and he looked at me, and I said, "No." It's the way he approached us, right? And all this, but fuck, we're broke down on the side of the highway at 3 a.m. And to be totally honest, this was back in the crazy days of Dick Johnson and I. Okay, so to be totally honest, we should not have been driving. Okay, and we were coming back from a concert. We should not have been driving. It's good.
That was before Uber.
Oh yeah, there wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't Uber, any of that shit. But still, we should not have been driving.
Yeah. I'm just
Right.
statute limitations,
Yeah.
cultural shifts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was Dick Johnson's truck. It's long gone. Everything's good. But so we got in the van with JJ. I get in the passenger seat, and Dick's in the back, and he said, "What kind of music do you got? You guys going to Jacksonville?" Yeah. All right. What kind of music do you guys like? And we were like, Pearl Jam, Nirvana. He's like, all right. And he puts in AC/DC. And we were like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like night and day. But that's fine. We had to deal with AC/DC. But listen, he's given us a free ride back to Jacksonville, right? And we're a long way away. Bob, you know where Cafe Erotica used to be?
Yeah.
Oh, down on 95 towards
Yeah.
St. Augustine.
Yeah.
I've only seen the sign.
Listen. We by the time we get to Cafe Erotica, he wanted to stop. He's like, he's giving us a free ride, and he's like, we got to make a stop here for some breakfast. We went to Cafe Erotica at 5 a.m. A strip club, folks. Okay, it's Cafe Erotica.
But they serve food.
They do. They have a kitchen. But here's the thing: it's fucking 5 a.m. and Cafe Erotica is like next to a truck stop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
And it's packed.
No, we're the only ones there. Our dancer was our waitress.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's just the three of us, Dick Johnson, me, and JJ, our cab driver, who luckily picked us up and all this. But he was like, his one thing, he didn't want to get paid, but we got to stop and have breakfast at Cafe Erotica, and our waitress was our dancer. That's my story for the night.
Nothing like a lap dance in your scrambled eggs, right?
Exactly. It was.
Next time Bob Austin's around and available for lunch, I hear there's a pretty good lunch special at Wacko's off of University there. I've had. I shouldn't even admit it. I shouldn't admit it. It's been probably, I'll say it's over a decade. They have pretty good hamburgers, man.
They do. They have a good menu.
They have good hamburgers.
They have a good menu
in the middle of the
I like
afternoon.
Bob, you know, Dick Johnson and I took Roberto to Wacko's for his bachelor party. So yeah, we did that. But Bob knows Dick Johnson very well and knows that he can get me into trouble, or maybe I get him into trouble. But
I vaguely remember a floor that didn't exist, but the floor joist did.
oh yes.
Oh, wow.
Dick, all right, we'll say this. We'll do this one real quick, and then we're getting into my question for Brooks. But Dick Johnson and I, there was this house, okay, that was like vacant, you know, and we decided one night, you know, because we're very, very intelligent, and but you know, the house looked haunted to us. We were just like, you know, did we have some fucking liquid courage in us? Yes.
Yes.
And we were like, let's go into this house. So I mean, this house is a house. It's not like being built. It's just a house that's vacant. And should we legally be there? No. But we're walking through the house, and we're just kind of like, you know, maybe we're ghost hunting. I don't know. Well, we're hammered, and we walked upstairs, we walked downstairs, we were going through all these rooms, and then we get down to the foyer area, and Dick Johnson is in front of me, and it's fucking pitch dark. We're just kind of like, you know, shoulder to, you know, hand to shoulder type. We're not even smart enough. We're too drunk to have flashlights, okay? And Dick Johnson disappears. Hey, this is a haunted house. He's gone. And I'm like, Jimmy, where are you? We call each other Jimmy. There was no floor. Where he stepped into just a void of floor, and fell face first, and a nail went right through his face, just missed his eye.
Good gracious.
Golly molly.
It's just pitch dark. I'm like, Jimmy, where are you? I'm down here.
Hey, he didn't need anesthesia either, did he?
No, we It was a tequila
when they
night.
stitched him
It
up.
was a tequila night.
It was a
He's
heavy
like,
tequila
no,
night.
Doc, go ahead. I'm good.
Listen,
Good Lord.
This is back once again. This is back in our very, very non.
Oh, you were 20.
We
Yeah, you were just or 21. You were legal, but yeah, you're just a kid.
we
Isn't
were
it amazing
not
how
making good
God
decisions.
had his hands on all of us? I mean, every one of us, I'm guessing, have had some stories in our
When I was a kid, if you weren't bleeding by noon, you weren't playing hard enough.
right.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but Brooks, I drove Jimmy and us to the ER because he had a nail in his face. I shouldn't have been driving. I could not see. I mean, totally irresponsible. I could not. The lines were. I could not see the road. It was just all over the place. Once again, by the grace of the Great One, somehow I got us to the ER, and I don't know. That doctor damn well was like, "How did you guys get here?"
Oh, man.
Yep.
I mean, and the idea is,
And that's
for the listeners and
Yeah.
such, obviously, we're just having a good time tonight. You know,
we Uber everywhere now.
right? And the four of us are, and I've talked to Chad, and we got a great pastor that I attend church with, and he talks about refrigerator friends and talks about the parable about the paraplegic that has four friends that carry him on a mat and lower him through the roof to get him help. And I think that's where this whole discussion the last 10, 15 minutes goes is, man, reach out, get some good friends, find somebody. If you don't have somebody, go find somebody.
That's a very strong, important point. I have a lot of people that I know who say they were friends of David Wilcock, but they weren't there.
I wonder how many people
They didn't go to him when he needed them. They weren't friends. They just let him die.
I think it's incredible that you mentioned David tonight on the show because, bottom line, Bruce, a lot of people listening to the show probably don't know who he is, but you mentioning him shows how much, as a friend, you are.
Right.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I will say David was always nice to me, and we always had intelligent conversations. He had a good heart. You could see it in him.
Right.
And it breaks
But he was
my heart.
isolated and alone
Yep.
and felt on an island. And the issue is what my point, and Brooks, and I'll let you finish, I'm sorry. But my point is, man, I'm going to guess most of the listeners that listen to this show are likely fairly intelligent and fairly isolated. And I'm saying reach out, find some friends. That's all.
Well, I could just tell you, if you ever think you're on the bottom, there's a bottom below. There's a bottom below. So you be looking up to where you are right now. You can always come back. It doesn't matter how much you are beaten down. There's somebody that will have his hand out to lift you back up. Now, I know people who will say, and I ask them questions sometimes, would you rather receive a gift or give a gift? And they say, oh, I would much rather give the gift. I hate to receive gifts. I don't accept charity. Really? So how do you want the person that you give the gift to react to you? Well, I want them to accept it. Oh, I see. So if somebody's giving you a gift, you don't show them the gratitude that you want to get for you giving the gift. And they hit them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Always accept the gift. And always, like, I get asked to be on people's radio programs all the time. I don't care if they have 4 listeners. I never, ever say no.
That's
I
why Bruce
always
came
go,
on the show.
and I always give my best.
Yeah, you do. I mean, listen, 2009, Bruce came on this show, even though it was a terrestrial show at the time. He still didn't know who the fuck we were, and you know what he did? He was like, yeah, yeah, I'll come on, And at the time, the show was billed as Earth with Dr. Drake and Dr. Truth. Brooks Agnew is a fucking real doctor. You know, he actually has a doctorate in physics, and here's two guys with a radio moniker, Dr. Drake and Dr. Truth. Well, actually, Dr. Drake, that's his actual name. He gave me the radio moniker of Dr. Truth. Dr. Drake's actually Dr. Drake, but Brooks, the first time he comes on, he doesn't know who the hell we are, you know. But he said yes and all this, and so he hears the intro that you just heard. If you listen to the beginning of the show, it's the same intro. And I introduced Brooks, and he says, "Doctors Drake and Truth." I was blown away. Yeah, I was blown away that he did that. I thought he was like these motherfuckers calling themselves doctors.
Yeah, we had a great program. And all we've had is great programs over the years.
That's right. 2009, Brooks. Holy F.
It was almost the last century.
Yeah.
Yeah, more. Yeah.
Brooks,
I am older than the internet.
Yeah, a couple of us are a little bit older than the internet, but I just want to say I love you guys. I do.
Well, I appreciate that.
I do. Brooks, I mean, with your IQ, I struggle with being introverted and disgust and frustration with people, and I can only imagine, and I only guess that you view people like Chad and myself, you know, as like, you know, it's bound to be very, 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 very isolated at times. And then I look at, you know, Bob, and I say, man, you what a wonderful American hero you are, and how dedicated you are to this country. And then to be, man, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'll say betrayed. That might be too strong of a word, but misled, used, whatever the issue is, because I know that you just want to provide and the American dream of freedom and independence and such, and we're fighting that, you know, and so, you know, I don't know, but I really appreciate all you guys.
You know, I'm a dude, and always have been a dude. I'm a dude that's, I mean, this is a job. This is what I'm paid to do. I joined the military for a reason. That was pay for my college loans. You know, that's the truth. And as a matter of fact, that was pretty much what all my associates were about. It's that same reason, you know. Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, it makes sense, you know. So, but I learned quick, you know, being smarter, intelligent, or whatever. It has to do. You embrace a lot of suck. You know, you guys were in the military. You know, it's a whole lot of suck going on. You know, hurry up to. You know, I mean, it's just. I don't know, man. I mean, and apparently it fucks you up. You know, if you take too much suck.
I've heard a lot of stuff from Bob Austin and other operators, and one of the best ones, other than Bob calling me hippie. It's like you need to unfuck that. It's like,
well, I didn't have the best military bearing as a kid. 17, 18, 19 years old. I went in at 17 under the delayed enlistment program in the Air Force. I did my one term, and I got my GI Bill, and I got out.
Smarter.
My goal was to go to college. And now I took college courses while I was in, because on my permanent duty station, it was a university right downtown. So I didn't have to take the SAT or nothing. We were active duty. So I was able to take courses at night. So by the time I got out of the Air Force, I already had almost a whole semester done. I think I had 14 hours. So I was a transfer student at that point, and I got the full GI Bill. So I went to school, and I ended up staying in college for 16 and a half years. I learned a lot. I got a lot of degrees, and I will say that my financial life totally changed when I finished my education. just because companies hire people with diplomas, not necessarily smart people, but they hire people with diplomas. So, my income doubled, after I got out of college. And then it's doubled again since I got out of college. But, that's because I was very smart and I patented a lot of things and I make good money. But that's why I went in the service, because my family was broke. And the only way I was going to get to go to college was to get that GI Bill. So I was focused like a laser beam, baby.
I
And I
relate
respect
very
that.
well to that Mama and Papa's song, about California Dreamer. I mean, that was written by a freshman at the U.S. Naval Academy about the idea about if I could only tell essentially my mom or girlfriend the truth, I'd be back in California today. And I mean, a very similar issue to what Bob's saying. And what you're saying, Brooks, is the idea was the military was a way for me to change my dynamics. I did it. I was too ornery, too stubborn to have them run me out. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you look at the dynamics of the Naval Academy, there's an awful lot of guys from New York and New Jersey and Maryland and in and around that New England area. Very, very few people from the Deep South. And I'm short and I'm overweight, and
We're taking care of that.
and we are taking care of that. 50 years, 40 years later. Thank you, and I appreciate Chad doing that. But the idea is that hey, I was running away, and I wanted to make a difference for myself, very self-centered on the issue, and I was literally too ornery to have them either academically or physically run me out of there. And I got some great friends now. I got very multiple starred admirals, and generals as either friends or connections through that time period. And I'm grateful. I told Chad that earlier tonight. So
Yeah, you did, and we're. I'm going to hold you to it. After tonight's show, you're going to.
I'm taking it.
Yeah, there's some stuff, in the biohacking world, Brooks, that you and I live in. I'm trying to get Keith into some of this stuff. We're not once again, YouTube. We're talking about what we do. Okay. Mm-hmm. No one viewing this show or listening should do anything that Brooks and I do. Don't you fucking ever do it.
Because it will treat, cure, and prevent the disease of ignorance.
Yes.
Well,
there you go.
Brooks, I think you might appreciate this. My heart to heart with Chad before the show was I accepted and acknowledged some of my shortfalls, and I said I really suck at taking good care of myself, and I have tried, and I want to, and I have a very, very good life, but I need some accountability. And I said, Chad, will you help me get started on some of these biohack natural remedy issues? And I picked two in particular. One in which we'll start next week, I'm hoping, and one will start after the show tonight because it's supposed to be after you eat. But my two medical issues are that I have high blood sugar, i.e. diabetic.
Easily fixable, but only for us, not you out there listening.
Yeah, don't do this.
Do not
and
do
then
any of it.
cardiovascular issues. And so I asked Chad tonight, I said, Chad, I don't understand it. I'm intelligent. I'm happy. I want a good life. But I acknowledge that I am absolutely incapable of helping myself in this area. And I said, I'd like some accountability, if you'd be my accountability partner, to help me start some of these remedies. And Chad said, oh, man, I thought you were going to ask me something difficult to do.
Right.
And so that's what I'm encouraging, the viewers that we have are that, listen, man,
No, they cannot do anything that we're doing, Keith. Don't you understand?
Well, they could. What they can do is get friends.
Yeah.
They can get friends and people to help them in the areas that they struggle with.
Don't ever get help. I'm
Probably
just trying to
ban.
cover all of our YouTube bases.
Yeah.
Don't
They'll
you
probably ban us for saying that you got to reach out and
touch
get help.
someone. You know, there's a great song called "Reach Out." Anyway. No, Keith, that's well said, man. It is, and I appreciate you. Confiding in me and saying, "Hey, dude," because I've been trying to get you.
I know.
Over and over again, and so that's cool. Keith kind of came to the table tonight while I was cooking, and he was, letting me know this, and I was glad to hear it. And that's too cool for school. It was something I wanted to hear from him. I'm glad to hear it from you, Brooks. I have a fucking question.
I love questions.
I know, and questions have answers. Bob, that's one of the greatest lines from one of the greatest new rock bands ever, and all this stuff. And you know who they are. Highly Suspect. Everyone should listen to. Actually, no, listeners, do not listen to any song that I tell you that I like. Okay.
We're outlining what not to do.
Yeah. So there's a
Only because we're happy and content.
there's a song by Highly Suspect, which is a great fucking band, but that's just my opinion, and you should never listen to them. And it's a great song called I don't even know the name of the song anymore. But anyway, it's a great song, and it's called "Hello, My Name Is Human," and I am only going to look it up. I don't want any of you listening to the show, watching the show, to ever look up Highly Suspect, "Hello, My Name Is Human." Don't ever do it, okay? Only I am allowed to listen to this song, but it's an incredible song. And
It's at the bee's knees.
it is, man. If I could get up right now and do that, I could get up and then I tear my earbuds out. Brought to you by Dr. Brooks Agnew. And by the way, Brooks, Bob, these earbuds that we're wearing right now, Keith and I, they're high-end earbuds, and guess who sent them? Dr. Brooks Agnew.
Yesterday was my birthday, Dr. Agnew.
My birthday starts next weekend, and I'm starting it out at a bike rally at Maggie Valley. I'm going to go to Wheels in Time Museum, which has the largest collection of antique Harley-Davidson motorcycles in the world. There's only going to be about 10,000 other bikers there, and we're going to have a blast.
Bob,
Man, I am so jealous. I am so much.
I'm just saying, Bob doesn't know that. This is the first time Bob knows that Bob's a writer too, Brooks. So now he knows that you're a writer.
I was on Facebook Marketplace for the last 2 weeks just looking at bikes, and I'm
I have a
I'm sitting there
2018
thinking,
Sport Glide, and I made a lot of modifications to it. I put a stage 1 kit on it to boost the horsepower. I've rewired it. I've got LED lights all through it. I got a 12-inch fairing on it. It's beautiful.
Oh, life is good, isn't
I'm
it, guys?
riding 100 miles to the event and 100 miles back.
Beautiful.
Man.
That's a ride right there. That's police escorted, or just
No, but I'm sure as I get closer, I'll be packed up with more and more motorcycles. I'm staying at the Hilton, about 6 miles from the museum, and I just used a lot of my Hilton's points, so the hotel was free.
Good for
My
you.
birthday present to myself.
Thank you. That's awesome, man.
Feliz cumpleaños.
I hate to admit it. I don't think I've ever been on a motorcycle. I know I've never
Brooks is good.
operated that, but
You
I
can lose weight.
surely,
You can lose weight riding a motorcycle.
I have surely have thought about getting one of those trikes.
Oh, yeah.
I see guys my age on those, and I'm saying, man, I can surely relate to that. And I
Well,
got
there are two kinds. There's the kind with the two wheels in the back
right.
and one wheel in the front, and then there's the Can-Am, which has two wheels in the front and one in the back.
I call those slingshots. I don't know where I got that term from,
Oh,
but
I don't know either, but they're called Can-Ams, and they're very popular. I see a lot of them out there.
yeah, and I mean that, and I got a friend or two that would fit behind me, and I wouldn't mind them holding me to hold on.
I'm not doing that.
You're not doing that.
No.
You can't ever get you on a Harley. Well,
I'm not being your bitch.
oh well, no, I don't want you. You can ride beside me or behind me or in front of me, or I'll follow. But
Well, that's
yeah,
the thing about a
Chad,
sport
I don't
ride.
need I don't need
It's
your
about,
arms around mine.
It's about 120 pounds lighter than the road glide or the street glide. It's what we call a naked motorcycle, and it has a monoshock. So it's really not made for two people, but it is very maneuverable, like cuts like a cafe racer.
It's Bob. Bob, it's like Dick Johnson's old Harley.
Oh, I see. Well,
I got you.
This has insane amounts of power, way more power than I need, but it's good to have it.
I'm just not comfortable. I mean, obviously, I'm not even a novice, but my point is that I don't know. I like the stability of the three wheels. I mean, type of deal.
In stop and go traffic,
Oh,
man.
yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. That's
The only thing that gets tired on a trike is that left hand, the clutch. Everything else is nice and warm, and like if you're on a motorcycle, you have to put one leg down all the time. That
Right.
leg gets tired after a while.
right.
Well, I mean, I was telling Chad before the show. I said literally yesterday, Friday, coming home from work, I had a little bitty 3 or 4 inch piece of metal, inch and a half wide, whatever, ruined the tire. Couldn't get the lug nuts off. Had the donut there. Had the insurance, called, road hazard. They came. They were actually very quick. They came within 30 minutes. Changed the tire out. Put the donut on. I spent an hour or so this morning getting the tire changed and all that. I'm just, hey man. I mean, the three wheels. If I had somebody holding on, I don't know. To me, I'd enjoy the security of not.
I see a lot of them. They get no disrespect from any biker that I know.
I agree. I see them all the time.
You get the wave. You get the official wave.
The low deuce. The
low deuce. Keep those two wheels down.
There you go. So.
All right, Brooks, I want to ask you this question that I've been fucking holding on to for the entire show since Keith brought up dreams. Okay? Because I had it written down before I had it written down literally. It's like one of my only 2 show notes. Mention Adam Earth and this. Because, the show kind of took a turn with what happened at the White House and all this. And before I get into it, and then I'll shut up because I got to ask you this question. All right, so dude, as of right now, dude was armed with a shotgun and a handgun.
Oh wow!
And several knives. So,
were the knives curved?
Man, Bob, I can't get all this information all at once, but this is.
You remember those Turkish knives, the one with the curve? It's like kind of like a boomerang looking thing. Yeah. It was just a little humor, but so he brought everything but the kitchen sink.
A shirka knife or a burqa knife or whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it wasn't just like dude was. So this goes back. If this is fucking true, this is coming from Amy, and Amy is one of our investigative journalists and longtime guests, and in the Super Friends chat. And once again, she doesn't put bullshit out. How the fuck does a guy get in with a shotgun and a handgun and several knives?
Well, because there are short shotguns that have a little pistol handle, so they fit under your jacket pretty
Because
easily.
he was let in, is all I'm
And
saying.
as I said, Deborah Long was on her phone from the event and said they're not scanning nobody. There's no metal detectors, no pat downs, no nothing.
This is just fucking nuts, man. I mean, seriously, this is out of control. That's out of control, and I'm not trying to derail the show. Shut the fuck up, Chad. It's your show. I'm not derailing my show. I'm fucking saying that's bullshit. It's just like Ian Trottier said in a text message to me when this broke. He's like, what the fuck? How does this happen? There's something deep going on, Brooks, and we know what it is. They wanted him dead.
Multiple times.
Somebody fucking let him in. This is not some crazy Allah Akbar dude. He was this shit happened. I want to ask you this question, otherwise I'll never ask it. I know certain people listening to this show are like, fuck, this show it's 0 to 60 in 1 second. We go from one subject to another. With the dreams.
What's the question?
Well, with Keith bringing up the dreams, and I had this written down, and before he brought this up, it's just a question. And who can I ask? Yes, Keith, I will fucking pour you another glass of wine. The only person qualified to answer this impossible question is the most interesting man in the world. And that is Dr. Brooks Agnew. Everyone can go to brooksagnew.com, by the way. Keep bringing up the dreams. I had this most vivid, like the past number of nights, incredible effing dreams, right? And
Repeat dreams are very profound. Go on.
I mean, these are just, these are very, very incredible dreams. And when I was hanging out earlier this morning, kind of waking up and having my morning gin, I'm just kidding, having my morning coffee, it just thought to me, because, we're doing a show tonight. I didn't know they were going to try and kill Trump again. So, I'm just thinking, well, Brooks is coming on. We're doing a show tonight, and these dreams have been so incredibly vivid. I was like, and then it came to me, technology, right? Everything's blah, 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 blah. Do you see a day, and Brooks is probably going to be like, whoa, it's already done. I don't know. Wouldn't it be fucking awesome if you could record your dreams and then play them back? Literally watch your dreams that you just dreamt and play them back in the same video in your head, the same audio. Do you think that would ever be possible?
I don't think so, because the way we communicate is really through pictures. When we learn to read as little kids, you get an apple, a dog, a cat, a house, a car. You see the picture and associate the word with the picture, but we're actually thinking in pictures. We're actually putting our thoughts together in pictures. What is profound is that no two human minds actually see the same thing.
Yes.
Like, for instance, if I say, well, that traffic light is red. Okay, that's red to me, but the red I see is different than the red you see. Our senses pick up things differently, but we are rationalized at a very young age to assign meanings and words and adjectives and adverbs to phrases in order to express ourselves. So the way the human mind actually works is not like that at all. If we could communicate telepathically, there wouldn't be words. There would just be picture transfers. And then we would interpret that, the way that we interpret it. That's why oftentimes when we have dreams, we can't remember them. Even an hour after we wake up, I had the strangest dream.
Yeah.
10 minutes after.
it starts evaporating.
Well, some people keep it a little longer. I mean, how do I
Right.
design all this
Some
stuff?
dreams I remember forever, and some dreams I remember for
I remember the
I will
hours
tell
or
you,
days, and some I remember for
everything
minutes.
I built, electric cars, rockets, subspace communication, everything, I dreamed about it first. I built it in my dreams. I'm inside of it, watching it work. And then when I come out, I build it. And I've had engineering teams in Japan, in Germany. I've had them ask me, where did you get this design?
Right. Where was the inspiration? Where did this come from? And from the
Well,
dream.
because we had a problem. We needed a solution. And what I did is I would prime my brain when I go to bed that night about a solution, and I would go into the system and either write software or design a bracket or rearrange an assembly line to make it work correctly. I would do it in my dreams first. And then I would transfer it to my dream book, which is, well, it's right here. I keep it pretty handy all the time. It's always within arm's reach of me.
Do you record your dreams?
If they're repeat dreams or a solution to something that I'm designing, yes,
Okay.
I write them down, and I've been doing it for years. And I can tell you, these pages are full. And the house that I'm living in right now, I dreamed it into existence. Everything, all the drawings and everything to this house.
all the way to the carriage house.
This is the carriage house that I'm sitting in right now.
Yeah.
Everything was in this dream book first, and then I made it a reality.
So Brooks, just real quick, Bob, and I'm not stepping on you, and I want Bob to say so. I just thought it would be really fucking cool if somehow you could record your dreams and watch them back like on a DVD. It would be too cool.
Well, you can if you wake up and write these things down and get in the habit of doing it. Like when you first wake up, go do your victuals in the bathroom. Put the dream book on your lap and record what you just dreamt. Then when you go to play it back, just read your notes and it'll all play back just as you saw it.
Nice. And there, Bob, go ahead. I stepped on you.
Yeah, I was just thinking along the lines of like what part of your brain stores that memory. Say you come in there and you find you're at a homicide scene, and whatever, and there's the deceased person there, and they saw who the attacker was. Well, they have the technology to, man, shoot a little 24 volts in the brainstem here, hook that up, and we'll transfer here, and you'll be able to see what they saw. But you've only got the last 20 seconds.
I'm afraid that's science fiction. It really is science fiction because dreams, it's been documented, are stored all over the brain. They're stored where we remember music, which is over here on the right side. They're stored where we remember words, over here on the left side. They're stored in the frontal cortex, where we're reasoning and doing a lot of things. They're stored all over the brain. Now, the hard part for most humans is recall. So what I have done since I was a little kid is I've trained my brain or my mind to copy things over in other parts of my brain. So I take architecture and I transfer it over into mathematics, or I transfer it to music. When I took organic chemistry, I took a full year of organic chemistry in 8 weeks, an accelerated course. And what I would do when I would study at night, starting at 9 p.m., I would eat peanut butter sandwiches because it has a unique smell to it. And then right before I took that exam at 7 a.m. on Friday morning, I would eat a peanut butter sandwich. And all those memories would come flooding back, and I aced the tests.
Nice. Wow.
Ben Carson, the African American who did, gifted hands, did the first
Brain surgeon.
surgeon, right, to separate Siamese twins. Yeah, right. And it was the HUD directive after he retired from Johns Hopkins. He did a very similar thing like that, where he used dreams and visualization to see that. And
Mm-hmm,
I don't
mm-hmm.
know. I mean, I think this is an extremely interesting topic that I don't think we get into too terribly much. And, I don't want to go into my dream last night, but I can remember it. But I'll give you the topic of it is my father, who I passed away 25 plus years ago, who I didn't have the best relationship with. For some reason, I believe I saw an issue of where some individuals broke into his home and essentially arrested, incarcerated, imprisoned, threatened him. And I was talking to my daughter, my oldest daughter, about the situation, and it was kind of somewhat on my house that I grew up in. Very weird. And none of that has been in my present issue. And I only bring that up because I have no idea where that dream, that thought, that had come with. But I mean, it was extremely vivid. I mean, colors, expressions on face. I mean, it wasn't vague. And I'm like, I woke up and I said, where in the world did that come up from? And I don't know. And I'm not terribly concerned about where it came up from, but I don't know. All I'm doing is I'm putting it out there that it occurred. And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a dream interpreter. I know there are lots of symbolism and things that go with dreams, and there are dream interpreters out there. Not that I put much stock in them, but I do know dreams are important. And if you go into your sleep mode with an intention, like, okay, this is what I'm going to build tonight, or this is what I'm going to examine tonight, those things will come to you.
Right.
I read a biography on mathematicians. There were 8 mathematicians in this. I know it sounds really exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But each one of these mathematicians claims that they received whole math. This is not derived math, whole math in their dreams. And then they spent years unpacking that math.
Yes.
Like Chandrasekhar, who was a brilliant young Indian mathematician, came up with this math, and he did not know what to make of it. He sent it off to 13 mathematicians in Europe, and they all crumpled it up and threw it in the trash.
Mm-hmm.
One of them came across a challenge, a mathematical challenge, that same week, maybe a couple of days later, and remembered what he'd seen on that paper. He raced back to his office, went into the wastebasket, uncrumpled that paper, and there was the answer. So he sent a delegation to India. They got on a boat, sailed to India to find this guy. It took them a year to find him. And when they found him, he had tuberculosis. They brought him back to Europe. He taught everything he could in 3 months and died. And he changed the mathematical world.
Yeah, I'm just saying is that there is some connection that I do not understand that I am trying to articulate between dreams and subconscious and the soul that's everlasting.
There's absolutely.
Well, I go into great depths of this in remembering the future, but the subconscious mind operates what we estimate 25 times the speed of the conscious mind. And so we teach meditation that allows you to go into a state called hypnagogia. It's a state between sleep and wakefulness.
Yes.
And what we're trying to do, if you master this, and it takes a while to do, but you can master it.
Yes.
It allows the subconscious to skid against the conscious mind. And you'll begin to perceive things much, much faster and much more abstract than you can with the conscious mind.
I agree. With the issue of dreams, as you start to get the ability to manipulate or alter or impact your dreams, it's crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a
absolutely.
crazy. And you say, "Holy shit!" You mean, but you're right. It's in that in between state between consciousness and deep sleep, I guess. And
Well, yes, and like I said, if you become adept at this, you will you'll begin to perceive two dimensions around you. The first is, of course, the physical third dimension that you're in right now, but the other one is almost ethereal,
right,
overlaid over this one, and it's much faster, much deeper. You can see all sides at the same time. I don't know if you look at cubist art, you'll see that what I'm talking about. Cubists look at all sides at the same time. That's why the Picassos and the Dalis, all look so distorted to the physical eye. But if you see what they see, then you can see all these dimensions at the same time. That's what
well,
cubism
think
does.
about Michelangelo, how he was able to bridge between both of those. I mean, just
Oh, he was not
oh,
only brilliant,
just
but he could paint and sculpt and everything.
Oh.
But I've been in meetings where they were designing a new piece of equipment, $5 million laser etcher, and we already had one in the building. They were designing a new one, and I was looking at the design specs on the screen, and I went into that state, and I could see the drawings open up. And I said, "Why are you building this machine?" They said, "Well, because these other parts that we're about to laser etch, they're bigger than the parts we make now, and they won't fit in this machine." So I looked at it and I said, "Slide me the mouse." So they slid me the mouse. I worked it over to the screen. I clicked on the drawing and I tilted it 15 degrees. I said, "Now look at the x-axis. It fits in our machine. We don't need another laser etcher. We just need a new set of bases. I just save you $5 million."
wow.
Bob, go ahead.
Huh?
Oh, I thought you were about to say
No,
something.
I'm just in awe, man. You saved them $5 million on. Wow, that's
Less than 5
Incredible.
minutes. And the engineers, we were having a teleconference with the engineers in Japan. It was about 8 o'clock at night there and 8 o'clock in the morning where we are. And you could just feel the earthquake when I took that mouse and tilted that drawing. And I almost said to myself, "Why are you guys such Romulans?"
Right.
Wow. That's wow. I would almost,
That's why I got paid very well, because I could do that anywhere to anything.
For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, brooksagnew.com, if any of you don't know, before Elon, there was Brooks Agnew.
There you go.
I just didn't get the $1 billion. That's the only difference.
He's the guy who invented the first electric jazz vehicle, people.
Well, Brooks, and I would say
No,
this too.
listen, let him tell the story.
I'm sorry.
It's Brooks Agnew who invented the first electric truck, Brooks. I mean, you can
True. I patented it. That's why you don't see any electric trucks on the road, because they can't build it without my patent.
Brooks did that back in the day. Whenever that day is. I mean,
Yeah, it was way back. I still own the patent.
yep.
My,
Ground pinning, I'll never forget this, Brooks. Ground penetrating radar.
1983.
Yeah.
I was the featured scientist in a documentary called Holes in Heaven that was put out in 1997. We shot it in late 1996 and it came out in 1997. It is by far the biggest selling documentary ever done on HARP. If I've been on History Channel, Discovery Channel, Nat Geo Channel, those images, those videos are everywhere, all over the world.
HARP's a big deal, still is, and Brooks was right there in the beginning of it. Dr. Nick Begich has been on this show numerous times, and he wrote Angels Don't Play That Harp.
Yep, he co-authored it with Gene. I can't remember her last name now. She was the congresswoman from Alaska.
Yes.
Jean Manning.
There you go. And I mean, you look at, if you think about it, Brooks, yourself and Dr. Nick Begich. When I had Dr. Begich on, now at this point already had you on for a long time, right? But I had no idea, once again, until like 2013 or 2012 when he wrote the book about the Constitution.
Alienated Nation.
Alienated Nation. I had no idea. Brooks is coming on the show for a number of years, and I'm just, every time, Drake's like, all right, we're having Brooks on. Yeah, man, we're gonna talk about science and physics stuff. And that's all we did with Brooks, and he was awesome. Then he comes out with Alienated Nation, and he's like, well, I want to come on and talk about my new book, Alienated Nation, and I'm reading the book, and I'm like, no, seriously. I'm just like, holy shit, Drake. Brooks knows stuff about like we also know about. I figured out, Bob, and everyone listening, and by the way, anyone listening, do not believe anything that we say.
But we love you.
Yeah, because we just believe what we say. Otherwise, YouTube will ban us if we tell you to believe what we say. But I was like, holy shit, Drake, look at this book. Brooks is fucking awake. He knows about the whole globalist New World Order agenda. He calls it the global cynic. But this is, I figured out that Brooks, but the same thing with Dr. Nick Begich. So you two guys just blew me away because Nick Begich knows just as much about, he's totally awake as well.
Oh, yeah. He ran for Senate in Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's great. It's just what I'm saying is, doing this show for all these years, you expect some people to be like, okay, we're just interviewing this person on this particular subject, but no, Brooks Agnew he's the most interesting man in the world. You could talk to him about anything. It's incredible. It's like talking to Bob Austin or so many other great guests. They have so many, and then sometimes you have guests on that it's just that documentary, it's just that book, and it's that subject, and it's a great interview. But I found a treasure trove in Brooks Agnew.
Can I gain a little bit of that knowledge and ask Dr. Agnew a question, please?
Yes,
yeah.
Brooks, in layman's term, for a simple grunt like me,
you're not really a grunt.
Tell me what this CERN is. Is this like a program? Is it a technology? I really don't understand it. I've heard of it. I don't know what it is, where it is, what its capabilities of. I've seen people are scared of it. But I don't know anything about it. It's kind of like the Hadrian Collider. I think they were building in Mississippi or something many years ago.
Similar, but CERN is a super collider. It's about 17-kilometer super collider. It sits on the border between Switzerland and Geneva, and or between Switzerland and France. And I've been there, been all through the facility. They wanted to accelerate hydrogen protons without the electron. They strip the electron off, and then they accelerate through magnetism the hydrogen proton as fast as they can get it to go. And they've got it to about 99.9% the speed of light. But it takes a tremendous amount of energy, because E is equal to mc squared. So as you approach the speed of light, the amount of energy it takes is horrendous. And of course, math approaches infinity, which means everything becomes local. The challenge, of course, was focusing the beam, because you can blast protons at one another, but they're so tiny, they may never hit each other. So you really want the beam to be so focused that you get a lot of head-on collisions in the room that has all the detectors. So the technology to to overcome that superconducting wire that is built in jackets that are helium cooled to make that metal superconduct. And when we talk about superconductors, it's not, the electricity is not conducted through the copper, it's conducted on top of the copper. In order to make that happen, you have to super freeze the copper so that the p orbitals, if you know about atomic structure, the p orbitals all stand up parallel. And so the top electrons are then used to transport the beam. And that way they can focus it down to a very, very, very small area and get a high incidence of collision. Now, when I was there, it was running at 14 tera electron volts. That's 14 billion or million billion electron volts, okay? And they were getting a lot of collisions, and we were watching the energy in the spectra being released after splattering these little protons apart. And there were no real strange things happening from the collisions themselves. You get a spread of subatomic particles. They categorize them by weight and by energy. What makes people nervous is the amount of magnetism it takes to get that proton at that speed. That magnetism is so powerful that it is actually crushed struts in this thing, and they had to shut it down and rebuild it even stronger. But now it's holding, and the magnetism is localized so powerfully that it actually disrupts the magnetosphere around the Earth above where the facility is. That's what people are worried about, that some kind of magnetic portal is going to be opened and something is going to come in from another dimension into CERN. Now, it's not as crazy as it sounds, because there's another instrument called LIGO, Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. I've been to all of them in the world and worked in the control rooms. These instruments are so sensitive that they can detect particles that pop into our dimension from another dimension. Serious. Mm-hmm. So if particles can pop into our dimension, then larger things can pop into our dimension. All it takes is energy. So that's why CERN is such a concern. Now, I was there. All the time that I was there, I never saw anything unusual. I will say that after I stood at the window of the control room and watched all the displays for about 4 hours, they flipped the switch and the window went opaque. So it was liquid crystal. So they were able to shut it off, like drawing a blinds in front of it. So they didn't want me to see anymore. But I went throughout the whole facility, and I got great pictures of that facility.
Wow.
Bob,
He just got me on dimensions, okay?
Yeah, beam me up, Scotty.
We don't really know what dimension, but we do know that those particles were not there because all the air had been removed for days before the experiment was run, and then they were. And the detector picked up those particles. It can sense things to a fraction of a proton, which is in the sub-angstrom level.
Bob, I've seen on my social media, and it's kind of funny recently that that they have this thing as like the HR interpreter, and they have a employee talking with a employer, and they got a person interpreting what is being said. So I'm going to try to interpret a little bit, because I don't catch it all, as to exactly what Brooks said. And I have no doubt what Brooks says is very, very, very accurate. But as my high school chemistry as a teacher, essentially you have an atom. And the atom has electrons circling it. And there are different levels of energy in which those electrons circle the nucleus, the middle. And there's the S electron path, and there's the P, and then I don't remember all the rest of them. So when Brooks is talking about something at the p level, that's like at the second ring, and I guess there's 6 electron, three electron
Third, yeah,
pairs.
1s, 2s, and then the next level is the 1p, which is
1p, right?
sort of like two balloons tied together, so they balloon out on either side, and those p orbitals it will fill up depending on how big the nucleus is.
And it's really interesting chemistry at the advanced high school level or early college level in that. But essentially what I think he's saying is that they're monitoring these electron pairs traveling around the nucleus, and they are doing something, right, to impair that. And so what I would say is I've seen a depiction, and if you take a soccer field and you take a soccer ball and you put it in the middle of the soccer field, the closest circle of electrons is in that soccer field. And then the next level, that P level of electrons, is somewhere out in the seats. And then the next circle of electrons is outside the stadium. And so I'm just trying to give a little bit of a context. When Dr. Brooks Agnew talks about a lot of his, I mean, he has a PhD plus, right, in nuclear physics. I'm trying to bring it down to the high school, first level college type level.
Roger that.
Well, CERN operates with just one proton, hydrogen. No neutron, no electrons, no nothing, just the hydrogen proton. And then they use an electric grid, a magnetic electric grid, to accelerate that proton. The faster it goes, the bigger it gets. And then they slam them into each other and watch them tear each other apart.
See what the fuck happens.
So this doesn't generate electricity.
No,
It uses
it consumes electricity, large amounts of it.
So, let's just get back. What is the purpose of it again?
The purpose of it is to discover what protons are made of. Now, somebody came up with the idea that if we splatter the little beggars apart, each of those subatomic particles gives off a frequency, and we can pick that up with what we used to call photomultiplier tubes, but now they're digital. And then we can tell, by the frequency, we can tell what particle they are. There are several subatomic particles. There's muons, and I won't go through all the names, but some of them are very heavy and some of them are very light, and they only exist for maybe 2 or 3 billionths of a second before they disappear. But we can detect them in these rooms that are lined with integrated circuits that detect those frequencies.
Is there like any one single industry that funds CERN? Is this a...
No, it's funded by multiple nations, and they're getting ready to build a bigger circle. They're boring the tunnel now. I don't know when it's going to be done, but they want to get it even faster, and they want to use even more power. I don't know what they're going to do. 30 terabytes, I don't know, or tera electron volts, I'm not sure. By the way, at rest, a hydrogen proton is 1 electron volt. 1.
Brooks, I'm sorry, not Brooks, Bob, back to the interpreter's issue. You remember when we went to high school and we were taught that there were 3 subatomic particles. There was an atom. The smallest atom was helium, 1 proton, one electron.
2 protons for helium.
Right, and then helium was 2 and 2 and 2 or whatever. We have discovered that the protons are made up of subatomic particles, right? And there are all kinds of those issues, leprets and things like that they break apart, and it deals with radioactive decay, beta decay, and that type of issue. And so that's what Brooke is talking about, is we're not talking really protons, neutrons, and electrons that I think most of us kind of understand and we're kind of taught. These are the parts that make up each of those subatomic particles.
Because at the end of the day, it's pure energy that's released when we slam these protons apart. What we really want to learn, and this is the question I put to the French guys that were running the program, why can't we take those energies that we have now cataloged for so many years and focus them back together and make a proton out of energy? We have not figured out how to do that yet.
Very well said, Brooks. Very well said. Bob, what a great fucking question, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just curious, man. I mean, I've heard of these things, and I get it, science. I get that, but I'm also a risk assessment type risk, juice and squeeze and risk and reward. And I'm like, hold on. They're obviously not looking at my bank account, my electric bill. What? What are we getting for this? Hold on a second.
Guys, great show tonight.
Wonderful show.
We got to start getting out of here, and it's been a eventful night once again. So, what happened at the White House shall be investigated, hopefully, but only by like real journalists. and
that we trust.
Yeah, and all this. Brooks Agnew, Dr. Brooks Agnew. If you go to brooksagnew.com, Brooks, real quick before we get out of here, what are people looking for at brooksagnew.com?
Well, of course, I have 13 books in print, and almost all of them are available in audio. So if you're not a great reader, don't worry about it. I read it for you. And then there are also health and aging products in the store that you can, as Chad was saying, biohack and stop aging, cut down your weight, reduce your A1C numbers. You can get yourself in better shape.
But it's only for Brooks and I to do. None of you can do it.
Can I do it, please?
It's only for Brooks and I. But you go to brooksagnew.com and look up all of that, folks. Everyone stay here. I'm just saying our traditional goodbyes, and we'll get out of here at the same time. Bob Austin, thank you so much once again, being one of my best friends ever, and being on the show again tonight, and we'll have you on again soon, brother.
All right, thanks, Hippie.
Anytime you're in Jacksonville there, Bob, let me know.
We'll hit up JR's.
There you go. Amen.
Can we at least do the Emperor's Club or something?
SOS Lounge.
I'm kind of a dollhouse guy. I'm going to age myself. Used to be there on Beach Boulevard. And I guess it's moved on to Phillips Highway now, but I used to be a dollhouse guy. And Vixen's. I'm gonna date myself a little bit. Vixen's way out at Atlantic Beach.
There's only streetwalkers on Phillips Highway now.
Yeah, well, whatever. They need saving too.
Keith Temple, say goodnight to everybody before.
I don't even know what to say.
Just say goodnight to everybody so we can get out of here.
I told my kids today. I said, Chad has never served me lettuce. Chad has always served me spinach, and I think of Popeyes. Appreciate you giving me dinner, and so I'll say to the to any viewers listening at the end, man, switch over to spinach, man. A lot more nutrients there. Amen.
Oh yeah, rock on. That's Lieutenant Keith Temple, Dr. Brooks Agnew, Bob Austin. Both of you guys say goodnight before we get out of here, and you can hit that music. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
I want to get Trump and his
Go to-
wife Melinda.
Go to Brooks Agnew.
Melanie.
Brooks Agnew.
Melinda.
BrooksAgnew.com, everybody. Brooks, have a great night. Bob, have a great night.
You too. Bye, guys.
Georgia Brooks.
great show for our elusive engineer, producer Tony, Scott Hare, Adam Earth, and you just heard everybody else, Bob Austin and Dr. Brooks Agnew. Until next time, let justice be done, though the heavens fall. I'm Chad. This is the